All right, everyone, get ready for a deep dive. Today, something that could seriously change how we work. We're looking at workflow generation.
Not just a fancy name.
Yeah, it's a GenAI application, making waves in the tech world.
Big time.
Ever wished you could just tell your computer, do this, and it actually does it?
Right.
This is getting us closer, a major step in that direction.
It really is a great way to put it. We're basically talking AI, takes your instructions, plain English, and boom, a functional workflow.
And we've got the research paper right here.
Yep, takes us behind the scenes, shows how they built this thing.
Now, we all know building AI systems, not exactly a walk in the park.
Definitely not.
Complex, even for the experts. So how did they tackle this? The paper mentions task decomposition.
Intriguing, right?
Very.
Think of baking a cake. You wouldn't just dump everything in at once.
Wow, no.
We break it down, steps, dry ingredients, then wet, then combine, baking, frosting.
Makes it way less overwhelming.
Exactly. And that's what task decomposition does for AI.
Yeah.
Takes a big task, like building a workflow, breaks it into smaller, manageable chunks, subtasks.
Brilliant analogy. So what are those subtasks in creating a workflow with this workflow generation?
First hurdle, getting that basic outline of the workflow.
Sounds simple enough.
You think so? Actually tripped up the AI at first.
Really?
Kept hallucinating.
Hallucinating, as in...
Making up step names.
Yeah.
Instead of using the real ones from the system.
Too creative?
Exactly. And that's where retrieval augmented generation comes in. Or RAG.
Guide.
Yeah. Think of it as the AI's brainy research assistant.
Okay.
Pulls in the right info about this specific system. The one the workflow's being built for.
Guides the AI.
Guides it, yeah. Choose the correct steps. Avoid those imaginary ones.
My mind's racing already. So for someone like me, not a coding whiz,
Sure.
what's ARGI actually mean, practically speaking?
Okay, so say you want a workflow. Update customer records in your system.
Right.
The AI needs to know the exact steps in your system, not just any system. Our AG gets that info from system docs, code, whatever's available.
So it's picking a real step.
A real step, yeah.
Huh.
Not making it up.
That's incredible. A built-in safety net makes sure the workflow actually works.
Exactly.
But a workflow is more than just steps, right?
Oh, yeah.
What about all the details?
You're right. That's the second subtask. Filling in those details.
Okay.
This is where it gets complex. The AI, it needs to understand how those steps relate to each other
I see.
and pull in data from the system.
Getting technical.
Little.
Break it down for us non-coders.
All right, picture this. A step needs a customer's email address. Our RAG helps the AI figure out where to get that address. Previous steps. Database.
Connecting the dots.
Exactly. Making sure each step has the info it needs.
This RAG, a game changer, preventing errors, taking on a lot of work for the user.
Huge time saver.
Absolutely. Didn't the creators say this breaking down thing benefits beyond speed?
They did. Remember Legos? Yeah. It brings modularity to AI. Key software principle,
Right.
like building with those bricks. You can swap out a piece, modify it without breaking the whole thing. Makes the AI system more robust, flexible, and secure.
Well-organized AI. Probably more reliable.
Makes sense, right?
Makes sense. So we've got the AI making the workflow outline, RAG keeping it real, then filling those details, a RAG guiding the way again. What's next?
Now things get interesting. How do we train the AI to do all this? We need a little human help.
Wait, humans? I thought this was the AI taking over.
Huh. You're right. It's doing the heavy lifting. But human expertise.
Yeah.
Still vital.
Okay.
Researchers, they emphasize this. Human labeling. It's like giving the AI a textbook.
We're still the teachers.
Exactly. Collaboration, not replacement.
But how do we know the AI is learning, getting things right?
Great question. They didn't just rely on the usual metrics. Created their own flow similarity.
Similarity.
Yeah, to assess how well the AI is doing.
Intriguing. Tell me more. What makes it so special?
Think of it this way. Workflows. Many things in computer science, they can be visualized as trees.
Trees?
Yeah, like family trees.
Okay.
Each step is a branch. How they connect. That's the structure. Flow similarity measures how close the AI's tree is to the one we want.
So, are the blueprints matching? Higher score, better AI.
You got it. This metric. Let them track progress, see where the AI struggles, and then they could adjust, make it better.
Constant learning.
Feedback loop.
Task decomposition, RAG, keeping things on track, human teachers, this flow similarity scorekeeper. They thought of everything.
Well, almost. building a powerful AI system, it's not just about the algorithms and the training data.
Right.
You need to think about architecture.
Architecture, like how it's all put together.
Yeah, especially for the real world.
Makes sense.
Like you've got this amazing invention, now you got to manufacture it. Get it out there.
Exactly.
What were some of the things they considered for deploying workflow generation? One big one, the size of the AI models. Yep. Big, powerful models. They can be expensive computationally.
I see.
Then you have the smaller, more efficient ones.
Like choosing a vehicle, right?
Perfect analogy.
Sports car versus minivan. Depends on the trip.
Exactly. Here, they found a smaller AI model worked really well, like surprisingly well.
For both those tasks. The outline and the details.
Both.
So efficient and powerful.
Best of both worlds.
This workflow generation, really impressive. Thought through every detail, from how the AI thinks to how it works in the real world. But did they talk about bigger implications? This feels bigger than just automating workflows, you know?
You're absolutely right. And that's what excites me. The techniques, task decomposition, RAG,
Yeah.
humans in the loop,
Yeah.
they're not just for workflows.
Really?
I think this can be used for all sorts of GenAI applications. Change how we use tech across the board.
Wow. A whole new way of doing things. If we can break down other complex tasks like this.
The potential.
It's huge.
AI simplifying our lives, doing the boring stuff so we can focus on the creative, the strategic. It really makes you wonder, what other tasks can we revolutionize with this? What kind of future are we building with these AI tools?
That's a question for the ages. But for now, let's dig into the finer details. This workflow generation system. Unpack what makes it so effective. I'm particularly curious about how they tackled. Reading this paper I'm struck by. They really thought about how people will actually use this.
Oh, yeah. Crucial.
Not just the AI itself, but the user experience.
That makes sense. They go into detail about the user interface.
Right, because what good's a fancy AI
Exactly.
if you can't even use it?
Like, you've got this state-of-the-art kitchen,
Yeah.
but the oven door's jammed shut.
Useless. So what'd they do for the workflow generation interface?
Kept it simple, clear, workflow's visual, easy to understand, even if you're not a tech person.
And you can change things.
Oh, yeah.
Not stuck with whatever the AI cooks up.
Nope. Edit, modify, all that.
Gives you control.
Ownership. It's a tool, right? You use it to make the workflow you need.
I like that. Human and AI working together.
Partnership.
But there's still the trust issue. How do we know it's not just functional, but reliable, secure?
Great point.
Yeah.
The researchers, they knew this was important, so they built in all sorts of testing.
Rigorous?
Very. Throughout the whole process.
So they didn't just say, looks good, ship it.
Huh? No way. Human experts check those workflows, make sure they're accurate, efficient.
Plus control.
For AI,
Yeah,
exactly.
That's good to hear. Humans still matter.
They do.
But was it all just human opinions? Or did they measure the AI's performance?
Both. Remember that flow similarity metric?
Vaguely.
It was key here.
Right.
Comparing those AI workflows to the real deal.
Seeing how well they match up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Not just does it work, but does it do what we want?
Subtle, but important.
Very. They dug even deeper, too. Specific metrics, clarity of the steps, the logic, efficiency.
Grading the AI on multiple levels.
That's one way to put it. This scrutiny, it builds trust.
Makes sense. But all this testing, that must take him forever.
It did. But they saw it as an investment. To build trustworthy AI, you need this rigor. It's not just about the fancy algorithms. It's about good design, thorough testing.
Attention to detail.
Lots of it. And constant feedback, always improving.
Reminds me, AI isn't set it and forget it.
Nope. It's got to adapt. The environment changes. The AI might need retraining.
To keep up.
Right. Any other potential problems they mentioned? They did touch on one thing. This specific application, it's all about workflow automation, right? But the techniques themselves, much broader.
Okay.
And that raises questions. AI's impact on jobs, the workforce.
Big questions. As AI gets smarter, we need to be having those conversations.
Exactly. It's not just about jobs disappearing. It's about fairness, transparency, making sure AI is used ethically.
Responsible AI.
Yes,
This paper started with one application, opened up a whole can of worms.
it did. But that shows how much they thought about it.
Yeah.
Not just building cool tech, but considering the impact. We should all be doing that.
This deep dive is a great example of that. Not just the technical stuff, but the big picture.
Couldn't agree more. Even something specific like workflow generation leads to these huge discussions.
It's amazing. A tiny prism, suddenly you see a rainbow of issues.
Perfect way to put it.
Now, for our listeners, maybe feeling a bit overloaded,
Sure.
what's your one piece of advice as they explore AI?
Ask questions. Don't be afraid. AI is moving fast. The more we question, explore, the better.
Stay curious.
Exactly.
That's great. Embrace the unknown. Ask the hard questions. Keep learning. Looks like we've reached the end of our deep dive, workflow generation.
All right.
An incredible journey, from the nitty-gritty details to the big picture questions.
It's been a pleasure. These conversations always make you think.
Absolutely. And to our listeners, thanks for joining us. Hope you've learned something, maybe even sparked some curiosity. We'll be back soon, another deep dive. Until then, stay curious and keep exploring. Okay, so we've covered the good stuff, the potential, the power.
Right.
But nothing's perfect, is it?
Not quite.
Every rose has its thorns, they say. Did they mention any downsides to this approach?
It did. It's good to be aware of those too.
Yeah.
Alongside all the excitement,
Sure.
like task decomposition makes things modular, testable,
Yeah.
but it also adds complexity.
Oh, right.
More parts, more chances for things to break down.
Trade-offs.
Always. You're juggling all these subtasks.
Gotta keep them in sync.
Exactly. Lots of testing, coordination, and then, like any software, this needs maintenance, updates,
Sure, things change.
right? The systems this AI works with, they evolve. The AI might need retraining.
To keep up with the times.
Exactly. They also mentioned this specific application.
Workflows.
Right. But the techniques,
Yeah.
much broader uses, and that brings up the impact on jobs.
Ah, the big one. AI taking over.
It's a conversation we need to have as AI gets more and more capable.
It's not just about losing jobs.
Right.
It's about making sure AI is used fairly. Transparently.
Ethically,
Exactly.
responsible AI.
This paper, we started with one thing.
Yeah. Ended up with so many questions.
I know, but that's a good thing. Shows how thorough the researchers were. They weren't just building something cool. They were thinking about the consequences.
We should all be doing that, this deep dive. It's been a perfect example, not just the tech stuff, but the context, the challenges, the impact on all of us.
I completely agree. It's always fascinating how something specific, like workflow generation,
Right.
leads to these huge questions.
Like that prism, tiny thing. Suddenly there was a whole spectrum of light. What would you say to our listeners who might be feeling overwhelmed by all this?
I'd say, don't be afraid to ask questions. That's how we learn.
Especially with AI.
Right. It's changing so fast. The more we question, explore, the better prepared we'll be.
Stay curious.
Yes.
I like that. Embrace the unknown. Ask the hard questions. Keep learning. Well, folks, looks like we've reached the end of our deep dive into workflow generation. It's been a wild ride. The technical details, the big picture stuff.
It really is. A real pleasure having you here. These conversations are always so stimulating.
The feeling is mutual.
And to our listeners, thank you for joining us. Hope you learned something new, got you thinking about AI. We'll be back soon with another deep dive into the world of cutting-edge tech. Until then, stay curious and keep exploring.